Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be talking about, well, me. Stay tuned. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Molly Armando. I am a real estate agent in Massachusetts and Rhode Island, and today I am going to be switching things up. So we're taking a break from regularly scheduled content to tell you guys about my story and how I got here. And I was recently featured on a podcast. It's called Real Estate Rock Stars. It is some of the most iconic names in real estate have been on this podcast, including Ryan Serhant, Barbara Corcoran, Robert Kiyosaki, who is the author of the famous book Rich Dad Poor Dad. Side note, if you are a real estate agent or you're interested in real estate investing, you should definitely check out Rich Dad Poor Dad. But anyways, I was on this podcast, and just to be featured in a podcast that these other people have been on is incredibly rewarding, and I'm proud. So anyways, on this podcast, I was describing how I got here. So in the last year, I have closed $16 million in real estate business, and it is my first official year as a real estate agent full-time. I was telling the host what made me get to this point and what my background is and why I have been successful. And in the process, I told my story, my background, and that's why I wanted to create this video today, is because there are a lot of people that don't know my story, and I've had a lot of new subscribers to my channel recently, so thought it would be super important to share my story, how I got here, and because it's important that people know me as a person. So growing up, I was an average student. I wouldn't say I was phenomenal by any means. Test taking was never really my thing, but I just always envied people who knew what they wanted to be. And I had friends who said, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, and I craved that. And for so long, I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. And so I went to school for business with a concentration in marketing. I went to Endicott College, which is on the coast of the North Shore, right in Beverly, Massachusetts, and loved it there. So graduated with a degree in business with a focus in marketing. Then after graduation, I went straight into a hardcore sales pit environment where I was making 150 dials a day, and I was selling to anyone and everyone who would answer the phone, basically selling them SEO, search engine optimization software, getting their credit card on the phone, and then I would go and hit a gong when I got the sale. It was interesting, and I think I only lasted a year or so, but what I will say about that experience is that it taught me fundamental sales 101. It taught me that it takes 100 no's to get a yes. And it taught me how to rebuttal someone, how to negotiate, how to get yourself from point A to point B under pressure. So it taught me so much. Then after that, I continued in the digital marketing world, mostly working with retailers and some of the top brands that you hear in the industry. So Home Depot, Kate Spade, Neiman Marcus, some of the largest retailers, I would help them to optimize their website. So think things like, rotating carousels on their homepage, or maybe a shoppable quiz to help, engage someone and not only get a sale on your site, but to help educate someone during the buying process as well. So I learned a lot about sales cycle and how it relates to customers shopping online. I did that for about 12 years. And at my last job, I was at 130% to my quota. Okay. And I get a calendar invite from my manager. It's on a Friday. I thought it was a little bit weird. I don't know. It was really early in the morning and it just, I don't know. Something about it didn't feel right. I get on the phone and the president of the company is also on the call as well. And now I'm like, oh, geez, this is really weird. And they said, well, this shouldn't come as a surprise, but we're putting you on a performance improvement plan, which basically in sales means they're getting ready to fire you. So now at this point, I'm just like, I'm in complete and utter shock. And they said, per the conversations that we had on this date, and they were all completely fabricated dates. And I had never had any conversation about my performance. I looked back in my old emails, my calendar, my physical calendar, my digital calendar to make sure that I wasn't, losing my mind. But they were all these made up dates. And then they said, we also know that you have 2 young kids at home and we're not sure if your kids are impacting your work performance. It's hard because this was in the middle of COVID and I am a very hard worker. And I did a very good job of keeping my work separated from my children and my personal life. And even with all the COVID exposures and this and that, and this person has to stay home, I always got my work done. So that was incredibly hurtful for them to bring up my children. So yeah, at the end of the day, they wanted to pay someone less than what they were paying me. The person who had hired me was very high up and no longer worked there. And so they didn't owe him anything and they didn't owe me anything. And it was bad. I had to get a lawyer and get out of the situation. Yeah, it was one of the hardest times in my life, knowing that you put so much work into a company and so much effort and you did it well. To be so easily disposable was hard. So, fast forward, it was honestly one of the best things that could have ever happened to me. I always knew that I wanted to go into real estate, and this gave me the push that I needed to go into it full time. That all happened with my previous job in April of 2022. So now I'm recording this in November of 2023. So this will be my first official calendar year as a real estate agent, and I am on track to close $16 million in business. I think a lot of my success has been because I just went 1,000% into this, and I didn't really have a plan B. So I needed to make it work. I hope that I can inspire other people, whether you're in real estate or whatever it may be. If you aren't happy, to take the leap of faith and do the thing that you're scared of in order to help propel you. And it's going to be uncomfortable. And you're going to have second guesses about whether or not you're making the right decision. But at the end of the day, in your gut what's best for you. And going into real estate full time was one of the best things that I have ever done in my entire life. Funny story. So after the whole thing happened with my company and I, separated from them, and after I had taken the leap of faith to go into real estate full time, I got a package in the mail, and it was a beautiful, beautiful box. It had like velvet on the outside. I'm like, what the heck is this? I open it and it says, I'll block out the company name, but it says Molly Armando, top performer 2021. Apparently I had conversations that my work wasn't, I wasn't doing enough. So I don't know if someone in HR didn't get the memo not to send me not to send me this award, but I keep it on my desk as a reminder that you can do it. There are going to be times when it's really, really hard. And if you want something badly enough, you just got to make it happen. So my point in recording this video is that if I can inspire one person to do the thing that they are fearful of, then it's all going to be worth it. When I did this Real Estate Rockstars podcast recently, it occurred to me how many people just didn't know my story. And I hope that this tells you a little bit about myself and how I got here. I love what I do, and I am so grateful for my friends and family and followers who have taken part of this journey with me. And thank you to my subscribers on YouTube. I couldn't do this without you. And again, I hope that I inspired you even just a little bit in my story. And if you are interested in getting into real estate, that would make my day. If you wanted to reach out to me, I'm happy to be a mentor. If you're local, non-local, if you live halfway around the world, again, if I can just help one person start their career in whatever industry it may be, then it's all worth it. Thank you guys so much. Please don't hesitate to call or text me whenever. I love hearing from my subscribers. It would mean the world to me. And yeah, thank you so much. And I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.